I don't know if I should turn off my alert box or not, but it's fun. Those aren't my specs, JD. Okay, so what we're gonna talk about is setting up your like splits in general for people who are new to the game. I'm gonna like explain how many splits are in the game, how the auto splitter works, how to set up LRT, which is different from IGT. It's a better timer in my opinion. And what else? We're gonna talk about just like changing your your key bindings in the game, and also changing like laser color and stuff like that, and some other stuff you should know. I'm doing this just to put on YouTube, and then I'm gonna get back to doing runs. Okay, so here are my splits right now. I run two like separate timers for this game. So on the left, this is my in-game timer. This right here is the time that shows up at the end of the game on the results screen, and these are the splits for like each chapter. And then this right here is my load remover timer. Oh wait, let me click on it. These are like the splits that they're identical to these splits, except the only thing is they take out all your loading screens. So all the time that passes in the loading screens, this removes. So this in a sense is a much more accurate timer compared to like a normal IGT timer. The IGT timer in this game is it kind of sucks, honestly. It's like we've been using it for a long time, and on console it's okay, but on PC, due to like the specs and rigs everybody has for their own PCs, and like some people only have like a hard drive to install their game on, other people meanwhile can run the game on an SSD. In my case, I have an M.2 SSD, which is even faster than a normal SATA SSD, an M.2 SSD is like a little bit faster than like a SATA SSD. It's about 5 to 7 seconds faster overall. But having an SSD over a hard drive though makes a night and day difference. So most like nowadays we kind of want to be moving on to this timer right here. So I'm going to go ahead and explain how to set this up real quick. Okay, so first off, if you have never used like Livesplit ever before, like this is your first time ever running a game, go on the internet and download Livesplit. Here, let me find it really quick on this window right here. It should be very easy. It's like right here, downloads, and you just download that. It's really, really simple. It like pretty much every speedrunner uses this program, and you can customize it whichever way you want. It's just a really nice program for like whatever type of layout you're using, and it's really easy to turn on auto splitters, which we're going to be using for this game. All right, so when you're actually setting up your splits here, let me show you what like a blank split file looks like. Let me find this real quick. I have a blank one lying around. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so this is like a blank split right here. It has my own custom, what's it called? Oh, hey, Carrie, what's going on? This has my own custom layout, though. So ordinarily, this is, I think when you open Livesplit for the first time, this is what it looks like. It's just like this timer right here. So what you're going to do is go on to Edit Splits. Okay, you're going to type in Resident Evil 4. Don't capitalize that like I did, though. Evil 4. Or you can go in the scroll down menu here. I think it's easier, though, to find it on the scroll down menu, because then it'll automatically connect to the internet. Where is it? It should be around here. I just don't know my alphabet, I guess. Okay, Resident Evil 4. Click on that. You choose your category. So if you're connected to the internet, you can immediately just connect it to like whatever. Like the game, well no. We already have like a bunch of categories set up, so you just choose whatever category you're doing. New game plus, no merchant, separate ways plus, or assignment data. So in this case, I'll choose new game, or no, not new game plus, new game. And you're going to make 19 different splits. Oh, welcome back, EMP. So you go into insert below, and you just keep doing that until you have 19 splits, and you just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. And there you go. These are the auto splitter for this game. And I'll explain that in just a moment. We'll split at the end of every chapter, of which there are 19 in total for the game. So you can just put the name for each one, like right here, 1-1, then 1-2, then 1-3, and so on and so forth. Okay, so when you're first connected on the Livesplit and you're setting up your splits, this message should appear right here. Auto splitting and loader mover are available by RE4 Central. This is what you want right here, okay? You want an auto splitter for this game. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna just press activate. It's really, really easy. And then for the loader mover, you go on to settings, okay? This window's gonna pop up here. You're gonna scroll to the bottom, and there's gonna be an option right here, loader mover / RE4 Central timer, and you just click that. And if you're doing 3060, you can also choose save and quit mode, which makes it so like the timer is pretty much RTA. You can go to the main menu to go change your frame rates, and the timer will just keep going in order to make it all single segment. But this is the most important one right here. Make sure loader mover is active, okay? And also check the script. Make sure this is the script you have. I have a link to a download for this split if anybody needs it. I can like give it to you whenever. I have it up on Mega Upload. And yeah, so make sure this is the script you have, because otherwise it won't work. And you just click in the little check mark under options. So if like, I think it starts off like this, like when you're first opening it. So you just click the plus mark or the little plus sign next to options and loader mover. That's it. And you see also the listings for every chapter in the game. So you can like name them very easily. You can give your own little names also though. And also the splits for separate ways, of which there's 5, and then there's 6 splits for assignment ADA, and so on and so forth. It's really, really easy. So you do all that, and you're good. That's your timer. It's set up. Like, let me know if the loader mover doesn't work for anybody, okay? Because there's a lot of people who are having issues with it. Like, apparently, like they paused the game, and the timer should pause on LRT, but it doesn't for them. So yeah, yeah, that's kind of a common issue, but for most people it should work. I'm pretty sure it should work. Okay, let me open up my old layout again. I have like an RE4 layout right here. So yeah, you can just customize that all you want. Oh yeah, all right, so loader mover should be pausing whenever you open the options menu, which is like the red menu that has like retry last checkpoint and like return to main menu and all that and load game. If you're on LRT, the timer should be pausing there. Like you actually see it pause. If you're on IGT only, that timer will keep going, but when you activate the next loading screen, the timer will reset and subtract all the time you spent in the main menu. The timer should also be pausing on save screens. So like if you or I don't know if it pauses on the typewriter menu, but for example on if at the end of each chapter you have like the result screen, you know, that goes like chapter 1-1 complete, and it gives you like enemies killed, number of times you died. I think it has hit ratio. I could be wrong. I don't know. I don't play this game casually anymore. But the timer should be paused there, and it should also be paused on maps. I've heard it pauses on the map, but there's only 2 parts of the run where the game forces you to open your maps. And that's in 5-1 when you hit like the monitors to find out where Ashley is, and then the second time is on the beginning of 5-3 after Sadler kidnaps Ashley again. So those 2 times when it opens your map, the LRT should be paused. So you'll see it working, if it's working or not. But yeah, and another big thing right here, right click on the splits, go to compare against, and make sure it's on game time and not real time. Real time, the game will auto split, but the real time isn't like a good reflection of your actual splits. Just make sure you're comparing to game time. That's pretty important. I didn't know about this for a while, but yeah, you wanted to always be comparing against game time, because that's what you're running against. And yeah, I think that's it for the splits. They're pretty easy to set up. For layout, I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of other tutorials on how to do a layout, but yeah, you have like this window and you can just add in all these different elements that you want to be showing up. It really is up to you. It doesn't matter as long as you get the timer working and it splits. It splits at the end of each chapter. You're good, and it splits at the end of the game, obviously. And it starts also like when you start the game. So I could like set an example by like starting a run and showing, or actually I will do that really quick. Okay, so I'm gonna close my IGT. We're just gonna have this timer open. Okay, I'm gonna switch to RE4 really fast. It takes fucking forever to open. Okay, so I'm gonna start a new game on professional.
Resident Evil 4.
And the timer should be going. So it doesn't start until after the costume select screen. Okay, so you see the timer active right now. Okay. And I'm gonna pause. Alright, you see how the timer is paused now? This is what it should look like. If it pauses here, it's working. Okay? Some people are having issues where they pause and the timer won't pause, but on LRT it should be pausing here. On IGT it won't pause, it'll keep going, but when you hit the next loading screen, it'll subtract all the time you spent in the menu. And yeah, back in the game, it's going again. Pause, it pauses. It's really nice. It's gonna take me like a minute or two to show like what happens at the end of this room, but yeah, that's what it looks like. The timer will keep going whenever a cutscene is active, like right now, so you got to skip those pretty fast. And yeah, I'll do this part real quick. And yeah, it should be working. I've tried before, shorty. Okay, let me like... Actually, no, it's going to take too long to finish this room. But yeah. At the end of each room, when you hit a loading screen, the timer should pause like as soon as the door transition starts. That's how the new load and mover works. Can these guys not follow you past this line? I actually didn't know that. Alright, later, guys. Okay. Alright, so we're gonna go back to the main menu. I actually didn't know about that. Okay. Let's go back to the desktop now, because I have some other things to talk about. Alright, so timer's working. Yeah, it should split at the end of each chapter. Just make sure you have like all your splits set up. You have 19 of them. Again, the magic number is 19, and you should be good. All right, it's not hard at all. Just again, to reiterate, just make sure this little check mark is activated. Okay, just make sure that's activated. Like, look and see that you have this script right here, RE4 Central Steam Timer 2.asl. It should be under Livesplit and then components, like whichever like hard drive you have Livesplits on. And yeah, okay. Make sure to save. Okay, so next thing we're going to talk about is setting up, or I should say, the next thing we're going to talk about is changing key bindings, because this is another thing people are having a lot of issues with. Okay, so this port is really bad. So in order to change your key bindings for this game, or at least to change most of them, we have to, here, let me make this window a little bit smaller so I can move it over here. Okay, so this game's port is like really bad. It's very unoptimized, and the options in game are very limited to what you can actually do. So let's say you want to change your cutscene skip button, which is like one of the most important things you should be changing your key bindings for. To do that, we actually have to go open the INI file of the game to change it. I'm going to show you guys how to do it on keyboard and mouse. Pitted has a separate tutorial on how to do it for a gamepad, which I'll link to whenever I highlight or upload this. So this PC, and I have the game installed on my M.2, which is this hard drive right here. Just choose whichever hard drive or SSD you have it installed under. So here, I have it under Steam Library, Steam Apps, Common, Resident Evil 4, Bio 4, and then Input. Okay, So if you have the game installed on like another hard drive, like let's say your main hard drive, for example, that you have like your OS installed under, for a lot of people to get to that file, it's going to be go under your hard drive, program files x86, go to Steam, then Steam apps, common, and then choose Resident Evil 4, and then after that it's the same. I don't have it installed on this hard drive though, so I go here, Steam apps, common, Resident Evil 4, Bio 4, and there you go. It should be under input, and you're going to open this with Notepad. Okay, make sure you're opening it with Notepad. You should have that. And this is what it's going to look like right here. Okay, it looks really complicated, but it's actually not too complicated. Okay, so the change so I'm going to show how to change your cutscene skip button and the zoom in, zoom out button on keyboard. To do that, you're going to scroll down, or you can control F for key underscore EV, and then look up that. Okay, there's one right here. So there's one under menus and then keyboard. This one I recommend changing as well. It's less important. This doesn't change your cutscene skip button. Instead, this lets you get out of like the tutorial menu that pops out in 1-1 and 2-1 really, really fast. So I have E instead of escape, which is a lot faster. And here it is on a gamepad, or I think that's under menu. But the actual cutscene skip button that you want to change it under, let me find it. Okay, so you're going to be looking for triple hashtag gameplay and then triple hashtag keyboard, okay? It has to be under this section right here. It looks identical to triple hashtag menu, but it has to be triple hashtag gameplay, triple hashtag keyboard, and then key underscore EV underscore cancel equals, and it's going to be like escape by default. I put it to E, so you just put E. If you want to put it on F, you put F. If you want to put it on Q, you put Q. If you want to put it on space, you type out space like right here, etc. It's not too hard. I don't know how to do some of the more like complicated like key bindings. Like let's say you want to put it on like mouse button 5 or something, so you have it like on your side mouse button. I don't know what you would write for that. You would probably have to emulate your mouse button to like be like F or something to do that, which I'm pretty sure you can do, but I'm not going to cover that. I just recommend E. E is like a really easy key binding to have for it. And then to change your zoom in, zoom out, you're going to go to key underscore C underscore up. That's to zoom in. This right here is the zoom in option. And then you go to key underscore C underscore D, and this is to zoom out. Okay? I put it on Q and then E. So Q to zoom in, E to zoom out. And by default, it's going to have it under, under like mouse scroll or something. I forgot what it has typed out by default, but you can just change it to Q and an E, and it's much faster. I highly recommend doing that. Okay. That covers like the basics. And then yeah, under triple hashtag menus, triple hashtag keyboard, I recommend changing the where is it? Key underscore EV underscore cancel. I recommend changing it here also, because in the U3 boss fight later on in the game, when you have to interact with the terminals to like unlock the next door to get to the next cart and stuff, if you change it to E, you can like skip past the text boxes that pop out like much faster if you change it to E, or like another easy to use button instead of escape. Escape is just really bad. I don't recommend it. Okay, and don't save. Mine is good as it is right now. Before you make any like major changes though, I recommend copying it and putting it into another file, like a duplicate. Like have a duplicate of your default file, put it in like a completely separate file, maybe put it on like another hard drive if you have another hard drive. It'll make it so if you want to like go back to like the blank slate, you know, just like everything by default, you can do that very easily. Yeah, also what Shorty is saying, don't change the hashtags or anything like that. Make sure the only thing you're changing is the thing that is to the right of the equal sign for each like input. Make sure that is like the only thing you are changing. Like, don't fuck anything up, okay? Just make sure the only thing you change is the thing that is to the right side of the equal sign. That's it. That is the only thing you need to change. And yeah, if just in case things go wrong, make sure you have like a copy of your input file and like on another hard drive or on a separate file. So in case things do go wrong, you can just erase this one and then put in your other one. And yeah, it's not too hard. Okay, I got to remember how to change the laser color, but I remember it's pretty easy. I think it's under... All right, so I'm going to talk about how to change your laser color now, which is also very, very easy. There's a bunch of Steam tutorials, but I can just explain it really fast. So you're going to go to your documents, so this PC, and then documents. And you're going to go to My Games. And then you're going to find Capcom, and then RE4. And you're going to go to config, right? I think it's... No, it is config. Okay. And in this menu right here, you can also change stuff like the resolution, the frame rate. You can turn VSync on and off. There's another way to turn off VSync, which is much more effective. I can show it in just a sec. And to change your laser color, you just change these values right here. So I think by default, the game has laser A, which is the transparency of the laser, at -1. And if you leave it at -1, it will always be red no matter what. It'll always be the default laser. So make sure when you're changing your laser color, you change it to 255. This means you will always be able to see the laser. It won't have like any opacity at all. It won't be transparent. You can just always see the laser. It's just, it's straight up better. Just do that before you change your color. And then you just put in the RGB values. And to get the RGB values you want, just look up RGB calculator. Let me look up this one. So yeah, something like this. You just like change the color you want, find the color you want, and up here it'll give you the RGB values for R, red, green, and then blue. And then you just put the numbers in to R, G, and then B. It's pretty intuitive. It's not hard. That's just in case you want to change your laser color. There's a lot of people who don't change it at all, but if you like that uniqueness, and yeah, just do it. All right, and yeah, like the other file, make sure you have a backup of this at its default state. So you would just do the same thing, copy, and then put it into another file. And yeah, in case you ever need to go back to that blank slate, you just delete this and put in that backup file in here, and it'll just go back to the way it was originally. It's not hard. And yeah, this is like for the mouse sense and everything. I don't really change that. You can change that in game pretty easily. And one more important thing, and then I'll be done. So in the game, shit, I need to alt tab out real quick. Okay, in the game, there's one more thing you need to do that is really, really important. So you go to Help and Options, go to Options, go to Video Settings, and go down here to Texture Quality and make sure it's on Original. It's on HD by default, but make sure it's original, okay? Like, it downgrades the textures to be like it was on like GameCube and PS2 and all that, but the game runs much, 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 much better if you put it on Original. If you put it on Original, you get faster loading times. The game will crash less. It's way more stable. It's just better. Like, if you're going to be running this game, you just need to have it on Original. And the game honestly looks just fine with original textures. Like, HD textures, like, you only notice it with like a couple of textures. Like the texture of like chests, for example, will be a lot more detailed with HD. And like Leon's shirt will be darker. And, like grenades in the inventory look a lot more detailed, but who cares? Who cares about that? Just put it on Original. You get faster loading times. The game crashes less. It's just better. You're doing yourself a massive favor if you just put it on Original. So just do that, okay? Do that. And you can also change your resolution. I run it on 1080p, but for some people, like if you have like a lower end GPU, you might want to put it on like 720 or something. Where is it? Yeah, it's 1280 by 720 or something. Like, just it all depends on like your system, and you might want to run it on full screen. And yeah, are shadows low by default? I don't think they are, so make sure shadows are low. Just copy these settings, honestly, besides the resolution and full screen. These two are really dependent on your rig. And frame rate also, this depends on like what you're gonna run. If your GPU can handle 60, then run the game on 60, because 60 is objectively faster than 30 despite having less glitches. But if you want to run 30, nothing wrong with it, just run 30. It's a different category, so yeah, just if you're gonna run 30, put it on 30. 60, pretty self-explanatory. I run the game on 60, so yeah. Yeah, I turn motion blur off. I have all this shit off. Just to make the game run better. Everything off or low in original textures. Yeah. That's it. And I guess there's one more thing I can show real quick. Here, let me go back to my desktop. So if you want to force turn off the vsync in the game, so you can change it in that that config menu where you change your laser color. But if you actually want to turn it off, you actually need to go into your GPU settings and do it manually. So for my PC, I have a GTX 1070 MSI. You go to local disk. I have like whatever you have, like your OS or like all your drivers installed on. You go to program files. For me, it's NVIDIA Corporation. Then it's Control Panel Client and NVC PLUI. Open that. Okay, it's like opening all this shit. So you go into Manage 3D Settings, Program Settings. Just let it load real quick. And it's not going to have RE4 on default like this. I was messing around with it earlier. But if you don't have RE4 here, like it's not on the scroll down menu here. You just go to Add and then you find it. It's not that hard. And you go down, scroll down, and you find vertical sync. You change this to off. Okay, if you want to like make sure vsync is absolutely off. Okay, you just put that to off. Apply. Here, I'm gonna make sure my RE4 game is closed during all this also. Oh shit. Yeah, there we go. Okay. And yeah, I'm gonna turn it back on because my game was having like really bad screen tearing. So like the game was almost unplayable to me if it turned off. But if the screen tearing isn't so bad for you, then I would recommend turning it off because the game will have a more stable frame rate if you do turn it off. So yeah, that's just letting you know about that. It's different for every like computer, like depending on what GPU you have. And also just make sure on documents, go back here, My Games, Capcom, RE4 config, make sure vsync has a 0 next to it. And it'll for sure be turned off. I have it on right now, so I put 1. But if you're gonna turn it off, put a 0 next to it, and then save the file. And yeah, oh yeah, and when you make any change, make sure you're saving the actual Notepad file. Like, so I'm gonna put a 0. I'm gonna try closing it. It's gonna say, "Do you want to save changes?" Save, and then yeah, and then I'm gonna open it again, turn it back on, save. And you do that also for like when you're changing your key bindings and stuff. Yeah. 0 equals off, 1 equals on. It's basically how computers are. I'm not a very computer savvy person, but I know that. Okay. I think that's all I was going to talk about. So yeah, thank you everyone for listening. I hope people will find that helpful in setting up their game. And I'm going to link this with the video. It's like my doc that explains it in text and has some screenshots on it. So yeah, binary. Yeah, so I'll link this doc also. And yeah, that's it. Thank you everyone for watching. Later. Have a good one. I hope no one is having issues anymore, that people will just be able to turn on their load remover timer now and change key bindings without issue. I'm going to link also to the old pitted tutorial on how to change the cutscene skip button on a gamepad, in case anyone is curious, because a lot of people run this game with gamepad. And yeah, that's it. Yeah, I did, Shorty. I covered that. Okay. And yeah, that's it.